congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the 2 goals. How does it feel moving on in the Canadian Championship to the quarterfinals?
Hi, thank you. Yeah, it's very important for the team to win this game because we have a hard week and keep going and let's go Sunday for another game.
Ruben, you scored the brace today. You get the goal in the weekend as well. That position, leading the line, it looks like you're relishing playing within this team setup. Maybe you can let us know about where you think your game is at right now and whether these goals just really kind of are a good reward for some quality effort that you and the rest of the team are putting in.
Yeah, the goals are important for me, of course, and for the team they are more important. And it's good to start early in the season scoring, and now it's just keep going and let's give gifts for the guys.
Ruben, today you started. I know you and Sam Salter play the same spot. Would you say that there's a competition between you guys? Do you think that it's yours? Are you playing better? It's okay to say that as well. Do you feel like that should be your #1 spot as a starter instead of coming off the bench?
No, we are both very good players, and I think we are doing a great job. And yeah, it's a competition, and just the coach choose the best one for the next game and keep going. If I start in the bench, it's no problem. If Sam start in the 11, it's not a problem because we help the team and keep winning games.
Well, and that's exactly what you're doing. Big win here tonight. Ruben, congratulations once again.
Well done.
Buena.
Thank you so much.
The dramatic pause.
And there was a little bit of the delay. You know what? I give a shout out to people who, when English is their second language and they get on a microphone in front of a camera. I mean, I can't do that.
You think in your language and then you got to deliver in English?
All the respect in the world. All the respect in the world. We just finished talking, though, about the disappointment from Valor's perspective. But just what about the clinical finish from Ottawa's perspective?
They were ruthless. And they came at you in waves. And what I liked is they put as much work into the game defensively as they do in attack. Their press tonight was on point. They found gaps. They took advantage of space. And to Jordan's point here, there's competition for places in this team. It's a very difficult team to get into. And the biggest question heading into the season was how would all these pieces fit together and whether it would provide a complete puzzle. Yeah. Well, it's looking pretty convincing right now. There's some natural chemistry between some very good players. I think he's settled with Del Campo leading the line. I think that's the right choice right now. Tissot playing left back, pushing Debrienne a little bit further ahead. I think these are all smart decisions as Carlos Gonzalez continues to figure it out.
Yeah, and I asked Del Campo purposely because I remember last season as well, we was with Salter leading the lines, and he struggled a bit early on in the season, but I think that he was better or the leading choice ending the season. And if Carlos Gonzalez could have 2 to choose from, 2 that are sharp, right? This is always the question mark with this team, in my opinion, with who's really going to score goals and be in the box. But if you have 2 guys that are eager, maybe not playing at the top of their game, but just contributing, then you're like, maybe you can get behind the Atlético Ottawa a little bit.
Especially with that midfield. Like, so much talent, so much depth. You have guys that just dig in and win balls and win their battles or read the play well, and they want to play quickly. Yeah. And so it'll reward players like Del Campo and Tabla, players with a little bit of pace up top. I thought they were outstanding tonight, so yeah.
We'll show all 7 of their goals in just a moment, but first, the other 7 p.m. game has wrapped up. Forge ends up defeating York United 3-1. York sneaks one past the goalkeeper there to ruin the clean sheet for Chris Kalongo, but for the 4th time in the Canadian Championship, Forge will face CF Montreal. It's 4th time a charm for them. All 3 times they've been eliminated by Montreal when they have faced them in the Canadian Championship. Coming up at 10 p.m. ET Pacific TSS Rovers, that's who we will find out who Atlético Ottawa will be facing by the end of the night. So let's begin with the very first goal that Ottawa scored. It was a penalty kick. It was Ollie Bassett. Do you agree that it should have been a penalty?
I don't think it should have been a pen. I mean, if that situation happened on the pitch as well, I think you'd be checking on both players. Also, I always look at the reaction. I don't think any Atlético Ottawa player is like, oh, this is a clear-cut pen. But you're looking at Scott Bowman, the official, right? He has the best view at it right there. He's looking at it from 6-7 yards. And he points right away, so that means he was convinced. But Wheels looked at it 12, 13 times now, and I just don't feel like Samaki does enough for this to be warranted a penalty.
Yeah, is this excessive? Is it dangerous? Like,
oof, it hurts.
I mean, that hurts. Those are two fully committed players. Who gets there first? Like, it doesn't look like DeBrienne has touched it. Like,
it's tough.
That is not even bang bang. That is bang bang. Like,
yes.
it is so close. I don't think there was any malice. It's just two players going for the ball. I just think it's harsh. I understand why the referee made that reaction, but I just don't think that it's a correct decision. And then Bassett's not going to miss this. You're down 1-0. Everything's up against you. There was no response from Valor, and it just became a runaway train.
Yeah, and it's tough, obviously. If you don't agree with that call, you might have your shoulders slump a little bit, but what's the excuse for the remaining 6 goals that end up following, right? So that maybe you could argue the ref could have gone either way, 50-50.
You want to see them all? If you're a Valor fan, you might want to turn away.
Look how much time you have.
Honestly.
Like, this is,
Viewer discretion advised.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
Look at this. There's 6 players defending the 6-yard box. No one bothers to stay with Zapatir near post. It is far too easy. When are teams going to adjust? Just go man to man. And you have a couple players to clean up whatever's... Look at this touch by Hundle here. That's lackadaisical. That's even more lackadaisical by a day 1 Canadian Premier League player, Noah Verhoeven. Then they're off to the races. Del Campo makes it 3. That comes a minute after the corner goes in, Jordan. 1 minute. If you're a team that concedes for the second time, they can just settle it down.
When it rains, it pours.
Too casual.
Yeah, it felt like in many instances tonight, Valor did it to themselves. This
goalkeeper goes for a walk.
Like, if you come out as a goalkeeper, you have to get contact on the ball. Punch, grab, something. You cannot just come out because then you leave the goal empty, and it's happened for Zapatir. This is like the easiest goal that they've scored.
Even if the goalkeeper goes for a walk like he did out of position, Zapatir's 38 years old. He's not rapid in terms of space. You know where he is. Secunda's he was just hugging the post. And then another Valor player just watched the ball come across. He was in the middle of Valor players and just boop, into the back of the net. Someone needs to want that ball. These are the moments I'm talking about. Lackadaisical passing, no commitment to win the ball first. That's why I give Samaki, he came out of the game, full credit because he was actually committed in that moment. After that, there was nothing.
So, we talked about Dos Santos at halftime. Should have brought Wheels in there because Wheels is disgusted. Wheels said, this is not how you defend. You should have talked to the team. You should have had you on Zoom.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it wasn't over, though, guys. In that...
You're waiting for it. Like it just went through 4.
Maybe you thought it was done.
Man.
I warned you, viewer discretion advised.
Look at this, Verhoeven again. Like, heavy touch. Like, and then Tableau, whoop, see you later, Jordan Haynes, back in the net. That is so easy. But that touch in the middle, where's Verhoeven going? He's opened up his body, turning right into a player. There, just a poor clearance, and, well, overruns it. No one on him, no one on him either. I mean,
it was just far too easy for Atlético Ottawa to get into dangerous situations. 1v1s, and the great finish by Ollie Bassett. But you're expecting more from a team that was losing, and you
get out there, get out to the ball. Don't allow that cross to come across. Then look at this, Temi, lackadaisical. Salter is on his rear, on the end line. Like, look at this. Watch number 30 here. A little like ole challenge. That's not serious football there. That's not. Get that ball out of play. The guy is on the ground, for crying out loud. Look, and that's, I don't want to take anything away from Atlético Ottawa because they wanted it more.
They did.
They put their foot down, but like plays like that at this level, at the professional level, is not good enough. It's not up to standard. And if I'm Phil DeSantos, like, you can lay out his tactics. You can put players on the field. They have to want it. And you know what it's like. You said you've lost 5-0 before. I've been part of games where I've absolutely got smashed as well. At some point, you take it personal.
100%.
And it's about pride. pride in your club, pride in your city, the other players around you, your fans, and they just didn't show any of that tonight.
And after 3-0, that's when the pride talk should have happened. You should have been looking at each other in the face, and maybe that was happening, but the players didn't react the way that they should have, because in no way, shape, or form, you going at halftime should have gotten worse. Like, you can live with the fact that maybe it was 4-1 and you had a bad half, but the 4-0 to turn to 7-0 shellacking.
Is that what's shocking, is the fact that it did feel like nothing really adjusted in the second half, and they're coming off, yes, it's a loss to Forge, but Forge had to score in the dying minutes. They looked like they were going to walk away with a point against Forge in their last game. In fact, that was one of my questions to Phil DeSantos, was do you feel like you're turning a corner here? A lot of people felt that way.
I certainly felt like they were turning a corner. I don't think they played bad the first 3 games of the Canadian Premier League season. I think this was an opportunity for them to maybe come with an upset, but at least, to Wheels' point, at least come with some pride and passion in the game. Just like Atlético Ottawa were first to every ball. They wanted it more. They were defensively organized. And you look at the goals that Atlético Ottawa scored towards the end, they were just giveaways. Grab someone's shirt, leave your leg in, do something to just disrupt the shellacking that you got.
We'll leave Valor alone after this, but it must be said, this was also the same team that was embarrassed by TSS Rovers last year in the first round of this competition. It's a competition where all of these teams are taking it seriously. They have to, too. There's still plenty of time to get their season on track. They play the exact same team in Ottawa on Sunday. They better come out fully committed for that performance after being embarrassed here tonight. That's where, like, okay, tonight, I'll say my piece. Phil will say his. Everyone will have their say on this. But Sunday, that's where actions will speak louder than any of the words that are said. They got to come out and deliver on Sunday, honestly.
And by the way, that is our match of the week on Sunday. Atlético Ottawa, Valor, right here.
Andy, we have to also say, too, they're on the road. They still I think they have 3 more games away.
4 more.
This could get from bad to worse if they really don't take it into next gear, this next match on Sunday. What I mean by that is you're on the road getting slapped 7-0. This is not the beginning of the season. Your season could be done and dusted before you get to the halfway point. They really have to take this seriously now, because if they don't, it could be all over.
They've been dealt a pretty crappy hand in that sense, and having to start on the road. We've seen this with other teams before when venues are undergoing renovations, turf is getting redone. We've seen that. We know how tough it is, but at the end of the day, you do have to dig deep, and this was pretty obvious. Exactly. When you look at the stats, your full-time stats here, nothing is in favor of Valor in any way, shape. I mean, they beat Ottawa when it comes to fouls, 9-6.
It's not a
Stop it. Behave yourself.
It is not. No, it's just. And you do. You feel for them. You feel for them. But at the same time, you have to give Ottawa credit. They smell blood in the water, and they went for it.
Ottawa's looking like the real deal.
They did not let their foot off the gas. It was similar in the Forge York United game. That was the other 7 p.m. ET. That was a 3-1 win for Forge. York getting the late one. For majority of that, it was 3-0 Forge. All those goals coming in the first half. We'll walk you through that one next as you continue to watch the preliminary round of the TELUS Canadian Championship on Matchday Live on One Soccer.
Toyota's electrified vehicles are for everyone. Every chauffeur, snack connoisseur, every scenery soaker, practical joker, every road tripper, toe dipper, every 9-to-5er, every long driver. Starting over 20 years ago with the Prius, we now have the largest lineup of electrified vehicles in Canada, because this journey belongs to everyone.
Do we really have any choice at all? Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
From the edge of your seat or up on your feet, let them hear you cheer.
Forge York United in the other preliminary game here tonight. 8th minute, this is when they strike. Jordan Hamilton was a player you guys were keeping your eye on, and he gets things started.
Great ball by Tristan Borges. Vincenzini's going to want that back. I don't think he needs to step there. But Jordan Hamilton, right place, right time off the shoulder of the defender. But this one here, Andy Petrillo, what a touch by Schwan here to go around the Botnet. And Jay Ham should have put that one in. It's on his favorite left foot. But he'll get his redemption. He'll get his another opportunity.
He also had about 3 runners to his right-hand side. What a night for Tristan Borges again. I mean, he played the ball deep that set up this move. He gets there, plays with the Chouanier, bar down. These two barely played last year for Forge. They're like brand new signings.
They started the season with vengeance, and they're head down and forward. Look at Betty Bonga here. The roll, the step over, plays Tristan Borges on the left foot.
Oh, what a hit.
Jordan Hamilton in the right spot, right time, bags his brace.
That time his left leg was working again.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
This one was warm.
Played well tonight, Jordan. And that's why he was very much in the player spotlight. More on him in a moment. York did get a consolation goal. I will give York some credit. They showed some fight in the second half. Forge were content dropping deeper and defending. But they did show something, and I think that they were overwhelmed in the moment. I think they let their emotions get the better of them. There were a couple calls in the first half that didn't go their way. They spat out their dummy a bit, and I think that they lost their focus against Forge, and before they knew it, they're down 3-0, game over when you play a team like that.
For the first time in the Canadian Championship, York actually bows out to a CPL side. They only ever lost to an MLS side in the Canadian Championship, so Forge takes them down. Forge earns the right to go on to the quarterfinal and face CF Montreal. Before we talk about that rematch, 4th time they're facing them, and is that the one trophy that's missing right now, especially if you are Forge? How about Jordan Hamilton? What did you like about the way he plays? How do you want to see that carry over?
There were only 2 changes in the team tonight. Olawabi Belawu was out, so Matusala stepped in like for like. And then Taron Campbell came out, and Jordan Hamilton went in. This was his first start of the season. This was an opportunity to show that he can produce with some very good players behind him. Because last season, played 16 games over the course of the Canadian Premier League regular season, just had 3 goals. He had 2 here tonight. It's a big step in the right direction. You know, the talent is there. And with Becker, Borges, Chouanier, Badibanga, you're going to get your chances. The fact that he took them tonight puts them right in the mix. This is a competition. No woo-woo anymore. Woobens is gone. It's Taron Campbell. It's Jordan Hamilton. And they're battling for that number 9 role. Tonight, good performance. He showed Bobby Smirniotis something.
My last season in the Canadian Premier League was 2022, and I remember when Jordan Hamilton signed, first thing I thought was, why can't York get a player like this? Because these are the score lines that you would want. Bags of brace in the first half. I'm looking at Jordan Hamilton with his pedigree, the fact that he's won 2 MLS championships. Like, this guy knows how to score goals, sweet left foot. You're thinking that 2 goals first half is something that you'd see more often. He needed this performance. Yes. This is a confidence booster, Andy Petrillo. Like, this is a moment where you're like, I can go and do this. He didn't really break a sweat the first half. Like, there are moments I was looking at the way he took down the ball is a bit lackluster at times, but the fact that he's scoring 2 goals, it could have been 3, this is something where he's looking at Bobby like, play me, because I have productivity in me.
This has to be the trophy that's just like creating that itch that needs to be scratched for Bobby.
It was a professional performance here tonight. Honestly, it was a team that was comfortable throughout the game. The problem is they've looked that way before in this competition. Then they played CF Montreal, and it's like, what happened to Forge? And you give CF Montreal credit all those times that they've gone on to beat them. But I don't know, you feel in previous years in this competition, I feel like we've seen better of Forge in other games, rather when they play Montreal. This one's a little bit different, though, because it's not going to be single elimination. It's home and away, so perhaps that will play in their favor. And look, like we said, Borges and Chouanier, the way that they're playing right now with this team, it's weird because we're so early in the campaign, but you're like, could this be the best Forge team that we've seen
they're
ever?
ready.
And that's great. It sounds crazy to say.
That 2021
Kalongo's great. Like, there's nothing that I don't like about this team.
That 2021 team for me still is top notch. This probably is right there. It's still so early, but I think they're ready to take on CF Montreal. I think in 2 games, as Will said, home and away, I think they could give them a run. They just have to take care of moments. When they've played CF Montreal, especially the last 2 times, it's just like you kind of gave them the game where you weren't defending well. I think Forge needs to just go out on the front foot. They could be successful.
And I think we kind of saw this coming in February in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Like, they were knocked out by Chivas,
yeah.
But they look comfortable playing, and some of the younger players that haven't played as much. So maybe this shouldn't come as much of a surprise.
All right, so Atlético Ottawa, Forge, they move on. We have one more game to go tonight to find out who will move on and face Atlético Ottawa, Pacific FC versus TSS Rovers of League One BC. That's what's still to come. And also, when we return here on Match Day Live on One Soccer, we will hear from Phil DeSantis, head coach of Valor, as they drop their preliminary match 7-0 to Atlético Ottawa. The night continues. The Canadian Championship continues on One Soccer. Stay with us.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair, as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
Yeah, hard to tell you right now. I need to look at things in a cold way. There's games like that get out of hand. I need to rewatch it. You know, I know that there's a lot of things that we as a team could have dealt with better, but I never doubt and question the integrity of my players. When they stepped on the field, their desire was to play the game, to win the game. Man, there's games where, you know, you get the PK, you get 2 goals on a corner kick, a team gets a momentum, and then things fall apart. It's not the first time in football. It won't be the last. For me, the most important is how the team's gonna react to this. On a knockout game, you know, by 1, by 2, by 3, it doesn't really matter. We have to look at things very well and assess where we are today and work to make sure that we address the game on Sunday with the capacity to look back and say that we learned about this, because that's the most important, is to take these experiences and try and learn from them.
What did you think of the decision to award the penalty?
Man, you know what? I'll just say this. There's an action in our last game where I get a player on a yellow card, and he's the one that leaves the game with a concussion. I don't speak about refs anymore. Look, let me tell you, Ottawa on the weekend, for me, again, questionable. I don't know. It's we all make mistakes in life. I have to rewatch it. In my first look, I think that it's a 50-50 that both players are allowed to go to. Man, does that affect the game in parts? Should we have dealt better with what came after? 200%. Refs are trying to do their job. I'll try to do mine. I have an opinion on certain days that I prefer to keep to myself. Again, we're talking about individuals that are in the sport and that are trying to also better themselves. So who am I to try and have a go at them and to criticize them? I never question their integrity either. I have my opinion and my judgment on that one call, but I'll keep to myself.
We'll go with Tim next. Tim, yeah.
Here's a look at match week 4 in the Canadian Premier League. Cavalry taking on Vancouver. Pacific York United, a rematch between Atlético Ottawa and Valor. And then Forge will play Halifax Wanderers. Phil DeSantos maintaining some composure there when asked about that call. Seems to, obviously, to no one's surprise, support your 50-50 decision.
He's a smart man, Andy. Look, there's only so much he can say in the heat of the moment. There's two ways. Maybe if we're a little bit deeper into the season, he might be a little bit more honest in front of the microphone about his players. But, I mean, this early in the season, like,
he needs them to stay on track.
You just can't set it on fire. You've just brought in 15 new players, right? You need this group to come together and do it in a hurry. So he'll go back and watch the tape, and I just don't think he's going to like what he sees.
No, but I also think that you go and tell your players one thing and you go to the media and say another thing, and you have your moment. You can't really say much right now. I wouldn't, if I'm in Phil DeSantos' shoes, I'm not saying much to anyone.
Yeah, it's a tough one, that's for sure. And to your point, we already brought up, you're starting on the road, you have all these new players, and you can't blow them up like that, at least publicly, because you need them to be on your side. You need them to continue to buy your message, believe in it, and try to turn things around. Because as much as this was a horrible loss, and they have yet to win as well in the Canadian Premier League, they're only 3 games in, right? Canadian Championship's done. That is done and dusted now, right? Now the message has to be the season.
I think you get 1 a year. I think KJ was talking about this, but I agree. Managers get 1 a year. You get 1 time to throw chairs and to lift up tables. If you're doing that every week, you've lost the room, right? So maybe Phil DeSantos is saying, let me just kind of block things up. Maybe down the road he's throwing tables and flipping chairs, but for now it's lick your wounds and get ready for the weekend.
The problem is Carlos Gonzalez is going to go into his room with Atlético Ottawa, not just say we're moving on this competition and potentially have a preferable draw, but we play the same team on Sunday. Let's go.
This can't be
Let's
the
pick up
same
where
game.
we left off.
This can't be.
Like
it has to be a close game.
It's just kind of a unique situation where you got to go play the same team again on Sunday.
They'll look to remain undefeated in the CPL. Forge right now undefeated in all competitions. I mean, this team, I don't know. Is it possible for them to continue wowing you?
Yes. Yes. They look complete. Yeah. Go ahead.
The reason why they could still wow is I think 2 of their most important players aren't even in the country yet. Like Alaman Cisse, when he comes back, he'll be contributing. And Nana, I know he is a baller as well, a player. So this team could get even better than they are now.
That is pretty crazy. And you know what? I asked Bobby about this in the pregame show. I know we've all been keeping our eye on him, but Chris Kalongo as well, 22 years of age, filling in, like hasn't missed a beat when it comes to the goalkeeping position. Those 2 early games wrapped up. We're getting ready now for Pacific TSS Rovers. There's a look at TSS Rovers arriving at Starlight Stadium. Do they have another upset in them, just like they did last year?
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong.